In this series of videos I'm repairing and restoring an HP9862A plotter. In the previous videos in this series I've gone through the machine mechanics and the electronics and got it at least initially working, and really before I can do much more I need to get this part of it sorted out. This is the platter, this is the bit the paper sits on. This machine's had fairly rough life, and as you can see this is in very poor condition. We've got some gouges, some bits of the top surface are missing, and this whole thing has come adrift from the metal backing plate. So this is an electrostatic hold down system, so it's just really a set of interlocking traces on a PCB. So it's a big PCB, this front part's a PCB, and there are interlocking traces on here that a high voltage is applied to, and that generates a field that is used to hold down the paper. But as you can see, this is in very poor condition, so what I need to do is get this bonded back to the metal backing plate. I want to do that before I take this top surface off. I need to recover this. I want to do the bonding first, because if I take the top cover off, this could cause the PCB to curl even more. So I want to get it bonded back down to the metal backing before I start. Metal backing's in fairly poor condition, so I'm going to carefully ease this forward. I don't want to take it off all the way because there is, of course, the connections to it. I don't want those to separate, otherwise I'll have to repot it. So what I'll be doing is easing this up, cleaning the backing plate, and then bonding it back down, so this will be bonded down flat. And once I've done that, making sure it's completely flat and there are no bubbles or anything in there, I can take the white front cover off and then recover it, and it should be as good as new. But first thing is over to the workshop and get this rebonded. I've bonded the PCB back to the backing plate. I've made sure it's perfectly flat, so I laid this face down on a flat plate, cleaned up the backing plate, took out all the dirt and loose debris and grease, gave it a really good clean, and then I bonded the PCB part back to the aluminium backing plate, cleaned up all the edges so they're now nice and clean, there's no overhang, nice and clean and tidy all the way around. And the next step is to remove the front cover. So this is just really kind of sticky back plastic covering they put on, and in theory it should peel off fairly easily, but it'll be quite a long and tedious process, so I won't bore you with that. I'll get all this removed, get back on camera, and then you can have a look at what's under here before I recover it. Okay, so I've removed the top surface. It came off a bit easier than I was expecting, and I've cleaned up the surface. It's come up fairly nice and clean. Couple of gouge marks, of course, where it was damaged, but I'm going to leave those. I have smoothed them as much as I can, and they are feeling quite smooth. It will most likely leave a slight visible trace on the top surface, but I'm not too concerned about that. And the rest of it's come up very nice. So as you can see, it's just a PCB with a series of interlocking traces, and all that happens is when you apply a relatively high voltage between them, it generates a field that is used to hold down the paper. And for anyone that's interested, there is a number on here. It's 07005, and then the bottom number is 00030-2A, and on the other side it's just got the HP logo. So quite simple. You could always replace this completely if ever you needed to, but this is in fairly good condition. And the other thing to be aware of with this is they are coated to make the surface fairly flat, so I don't want to remove that. I'm just going to clean it and then try and recover it. Okay, so that's the platter recovered. It's actually come up very nice. I can't see any sign of any damage remaining at all, so that's quite a good result. Probably doesn't really come across very well on camera being totally white, but it's nice and flat. No sign of any kind of wrinkles or any of the original marks showing through. So all I have to do now is cut out the small circles that allow the fittings to go through. So that's just really finding out where they are, putting a knife through and then just cutting the hole very slightly smaller than the hole in the backing plate, and then these ceramic fittings push in, and there's a kind of a lip on the top that overhangs and covers up the cut mark. So I'll get those done, get this refitted to the machine, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so that's the cover refitted. I've got the cutouts for the screws and the inserts, and it's all gone together very nicely. It actually looks extremely good. There's no wrinkles or bumps or lumps in it. It's got quite a nice texture. For anyone that's interested, this is kind of an industrial sticky back plastic material. It's a bit thicker than the normal stuff you'd use and very similar to what was on here originally. But it's got a very slight texture, so it actually looks quite nice, a kind of matte finish, and a proper industrial strength adhesive on the back. And it's relatively easy to put on. You just need to be careful not to get any wrinkles in it, and then just carefully cut out the holes. I've refitted the shroud, but of course the real question is, does this hold down now work? So the way it's supposed to operate is when you put a piece of paper on it and turn on the chart hold switch, it should stop paper moving around. So as you can see, with it turned off, this just slides around. If I turn the chart hold on, you can see the paper stays where you put it, and turn it off, once again the paper slides around, chart hold on, and the paper stays exactly where you put it on the platter. And that's kind of the idea. It's kind of a clampless way of holding the paper in place. It doesn't hold it particularly tight, but it's easily secure enough to allow the plotter to draw on it. And as I say, you turn it off and the paper just slides around. So that is, I think, a result. It does appear to be working exactly the way it is supposed to. So I'll take the pick controller, which is still plugged in, out of reset. So obviously not drawing yet because I don't have a pen, and I think it's starting to get fairly close now. I just need to just turn it off. I just need to replace the knobs, find something for those. I doubt I'll get originals, but I'll try and find something fairly similar. I need to straighten out this cover. It's still got quite a bad bend in it, and then I need to try and figure out how to make up some pen holders. Once I've done that, I can try and actually hook it up to a calculator and see if it will plot anything, but I can't see why it wouldn't. It runs fine with the pick controller, and so there's every chance it's going to work fine once it's connected to a calculator.